This is Saving the Niger Delta with Ann Q Briggs, and you're tuned to 89.9 FM, Garden City Radio, Radio Garden City, Style and Groove, Groove and Style, whichever one works for you. Once again, good morning. We have, I think that we have been through the mill. We've been through the mill not because it hit us like we didn't know at all, but we've been through the mill because everything that has been done so far, from the federal government all the way down, has taken a bit longer than it should have taken. I'm talking about coronavirus. I'm talking about COVID-19. Now, this is a virus in the family of coronavirus. It's in the family of long-time noted flu. It's in the family of SARS and so many other different strains of flu that we get periodically all over the world at different times, depending on the type of weather that you are exposed to. But in places like Europe, America, it's always during the cold period. And then also people get different type of runny nose and things like that, which has to do with allergy. This COVID-19, that is a new strain of the coronavirus flu family. It started, as we know, in China, and it is taking longer, I think, to get to places like Africa. It didn't hit Africa, it didn't hit Nigeria at the same time that it hit China or Europe and places like that. So in terms of like being interested to know from the information that was coming out worldwide, when it would get to Africa, when it actually got to Africa. If Nigeria is a country and Nigerians are people that take things more seriously, I think we would have been more prepared. But having said that, we're here now, right and now. So what is very important today is today and onward, and what has happened in the past. Governor Wike of Rivers State has tried his very best when he kicked in, and he's doing everything from the information that is coming out from people and countries that have experienced this before us. We must work with their information. Their information, their experience is what we must go by. And the information that they are giving us as to how it should be prevented, the processes that they have been through to begin to prevent it, to begin to curtail the spreading of it. I don't too much believe that right now we can prevent it. But what is very clear is that if we do what we are told, we will be able to begin to contain it. And this is where social distancing, whether you are a family of 4, living with extended family in the African setup, in Nigerian setup, it would spread quicker in the sense that we have drivers, we have gardeners, we have house helps, we have people who come in and work, we have workers in our homes who come and go. We have market spaces where the market is wide open. We're not used to social distancing in our culture and in our country. We're used to going to the market, which is very open, i.e. places like Creek Road Market, Mile 1 Market, places like the market that holds every Wednesday in Port Harcourt, in Elelewan. I can't quite think of the name right now, but that doesn't matter. You all know what I'm talking about. Now, this sort of open places will carry and transmit the virus much quicker. And unfortunately, the virus lives on things. It lives on, it can stay alive on your clothing for hours, if not a day. It can stay alive on seats, on buses and taxis. And in Nigeria, where we carry more in our buses, for instance, that we should only carry 15 passengers, we're carrying 20 or 30. So the tightness in the buses will spread it more. Unfortunately, Nigerians, in terms of like picking their nose, Nigerians pick their nose publicly. They don't even know that it is etiquettely, it is very unsightly, it is unhygienic to pick your nose. They yawn without closing their mouth. They cough really without closing their mouth. Now we've been told use handkerchiefs or cough with your elbow across your nose, your mouth and your nose like that. Sneeze like that. Those are the things that we're being told to do, and we must do these things. It's not good enough for when we start shouting like every other country, shut down, close every place down, if we're not going to do the things that we are supposed to do that go with the shutting down. So if you don't have to leave your house, please don't leave your house. These are the things that others are doing, where they're going shut down everywhere, in America, in Italy, in the UK, in Scotland, anywhere. This is what they are doing. Now, if that is what they are doing, then in Nigeria, we must do the same thing. In Rivers State, we must do the same thing. The information that the Rivers State government is bringing out, that I have heard, are the right information. They are the correct information, and we must abide by them. This has got nothing to do with APC. It has got nothing to do with PDP. The chief of staff to the president has it. So it has nothing to do with big man. It has nothing to do with small man. It has nothing to do with taxi driver, pastor, minister, anything. If you come in contact with it, you will be infected by it. If you're infected by it, you're in trouble. And let's not pretend in Nigeria, in Rivers State, even though the governors are trying, our medical system is poor, is not up to date. I keep saying it that I will not even take Panadol unless it is, I can see very clearly that it is imported. So if that is the situation our medical condition is reduced to, then perhaps this will teach our leaders a lesson, and this will bring us back after this is all fizzled out by the grace of God and by the attempts and the things that we personally must do. We must participate in making sure that we obey the stipulated conditions that have been laid down by government. We must obey it. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. You must wash your hands constantly, very constantly. You must be washing your hands with water and soap. You must constantly sanitize your hands. And this is not the time for people to make profit out of the threat to life, out of misery of other people. If you can make a 50 naira profit on hand sanitizer, there is no point you making 1,000 naira profit. People are selling hand sanitizer for 1,500, 2,000. This is almost criminal. How much did you pay for it? So these are the things that we owe ourselves. We don't owe it to any other person but ourselves primarily, and the next person. Because if you're contaminated and you don't know you're contaminated, and it takes like 2 weeks before you can know that you're contaminated. And you go around, you're dancing in discos, you're going to parties, you're going to weddings, all of these things. If they should, nobody even should go to wedding. Even if you're invited, you shouldn't go, because there is a risk of you catching something, or of you passing something on. Now, all these things about boiling garlic to drinking chloroquine, all those things, please, if the World Health Organization have not put it in their site, and people who are online, people who go online, this is the time for you to use your data very well. This is not the time to spread rumors, to tell lies. You must do the right thing and pass only the right information, spread the right information. Don't spread wrong information. Don't tell people that they should go and drink pepper, they should rub pepper on their skin. All this type of thing is wrong. These are nobody has said that this is the way that that we should cure this thing. Right now, there is no cure for this virus. They are trying to look for cure for the virus. They have not found it. So what we must do is for us to obey, to abide by what we're being told. Now, in other countries, the military is getting involved, the police is getting involved in helping the medical system not to be overburdened, and to make sure you don't have to wait for the police to stop you on the road, or the army to cock their gun on the road on you for you to stay in your house. What the military are doing in other places, when we watch news, international news that we see, is that you actually see the military are delivering drugs. The military are doing things that will help the people. The military are not beating people, but Nigerians have reduced themselves to the level where unless you're handled roughly, you would not do what you're told. Let me very quickly digress a little bit. There is somebody called Nwabueze Egbo Ugo. Obviously, you're trying to push Biafra, and I think that it is ridiculous and you're silly if you continue to send in messages as I'm live broadcasting. The rubbish I'm seeing is, what is Niger Delta? What? Nobody is from Niger Delta. I didn't tell you you're from Niger Delta. Me, I am from Niger Delta. Whether you like it, you don't like it, that's your business. Nobody is joining you to do Biafra unless we have all agreed as a people. Unless my community agrees that they are Biafra, I'm not Biafra. Unless my people agree that we're Biafra, I'm not Biafra. So as much as you want to try to push this thing, you're pushing it against yourself. Nobody will join you with this type of attitude that you have. So having said that, going back to coronavirus, this is the most important thing in the whole wide world, not only in one place that exists only in the mind of a few people that were not even born before the so-called Biafra war. I'm not interested in your Biafra. I hope you will get it into your head once and for all. Okay, now, so we truly are at a time where these things must be, we must abide by the rules and the regulation that that has been set up by the government, and we must, for our own sake and for the sake of many others around us, our family, our state, Rivers State, Niger Delta region. This thing is carried by air as well. It is carried by movement. If you stay in one place, even if you have it, it will be within that space that you have it. It is when you leave the space that you're in and you go out that you begin to spread it. And that is the reason why we're being told that we should stay indoors as much as possible and give ourselves within 3 to 6 feet space between you and the next person. There is somebody watching from Thailand, and between you and the next person, to for you to give yourself that space. No hugging, no handshake, and this too also will pass. All the governors are doing their best. The federal government is doing what it can do. We, at the end of the day, we must do what is in our best interest, in our health, in and in our families, so that this thing is contained as quickly as possible. The people who, like in China, they are now coming out of it, and it's taking them, if we're to believe the stories, it started maybe around October thereabout in China, or the information came out thereabout in China. So if that be the case, then it will take at least another 3 months minimum for us to benefit from the fact that they have endured it before us. Benefit in the sense that if we do what has taken them 6 months to achieve, if we begin to do it now, we will achieve a better result quicker than they did, because we are able to do what they did maybe after 3 months. We're able to do it after one month of us coming to the realization that this is really an issue, and an issue that we should take very, very seriously. The government also should begin to, I'm sure that they are trying, but what is very important, like in Rivers State, is that open places that are not used for medical purposes, like maybe the civic center, for instance. There are, if you watch other people, like in the UK, they are turning places that are not really hospitals per se into makeshift hospitals. And this is where they are using their military, because the military is trained in this type of emergency. The military is trained ordinarily where the military is at war. The military sets up field hospitals, and because they are trained in that area, they are able to set up field hospitals. So the government actually should begin to prepare for this sort of emergencies. They shouldn't wait until to see whether people are going to start going down on the streets like they did in China. People are going to be falling down from the overwhelming situation of being sick, and the symptoms of pneumonia and all of that. They shouldn't wait. The government should be prepared. I can see and hear from what the government is saying, from the information the governments are putting out, that they are trying, but they must also try more and get more information from outside, from people from countries that are going through it, and so that this deadly disease can be contained very, very, very quickly. I believe that even though our medical setup is very poor compared to places like UK and Italy and America, where this thing has devastated these countries, if we follow from what they are doing now, we should be able to achieve a high level of protection for ourselves in Nigeria, in Rivers State, in the Niger Delta region, in Africa. This is very, very important for us. Now, I'm going to attempt to, since I'm not obviously in the studio, I'm going to attempt to open the lines and see whether we can actually receive calls. We will actually see whether this is possible, to see whether we can receive calls. Well, I don't know. It's hello. It is it is possible to receive calls, but whether we've actually technically been able to achieve this, I really am not I'm not sure. But I cannot emphasize enough how important and how necessary it is that how important and how necessary it is that we adhere to staying at home. I hear when the government says work from home. Well, people have telephone, people have laptops, people have internet, but whether these are actually good enough, strong enough, is something we will find out later. But where they have very strong technical communication technical systems to work from home, then people can work from home. It's a pity that most of the livelihood of Nigerians actually depend on people going out and literally going out on a daily basis to do their work. And so it's not, most people are not working 9 to 5. And so if you're not working 9 to 5, I think it becomes quite almost difficult to earn a living if your work depends on selling something that someone has to come to you, or you walking on the street to sell these things. But again, the most important things, like if you must interact with people, for instance, let me do this. These are very thin plastic gloves. I don't know if we can see this, but using gloves to do work and housework, some people are actually used to it. That is washing your plates with gloves and things like that. Ordinary people, not just doctors, are actually used to it. People who work in salons and things like that, even in Nigeria, people are used to it. So, okay, for instance, these gloves I have on my hands now. I don't know if you're seeing it. If you're seeing it, wave. But I don't know if you're seeing it. But here, oh gosh, here is a pair of hand gloves. If you are interacting with people, for instance, you're a cab driver, you collect money, and we've been told, we're hearing from outside the country that using of cards are being encouraged. But then that's outside the country, where most people actually do have ATM cards. In places like Nigeria, where not everybody or not the majority of people have ATM cards, then if you must use cash, it is good that you have this type of gloves, and you've put the gloves on, you've sanitized your hands, then you've put the gloves on, and you bring out money and you buy something. When you want to get rid of the gloves, you hold it at this end and you pull the gloves off like this, and then you pull the gloves off like that, so that if the gloves is contaminated, the way you pull it off, the chances of you getting recontaminated from the gloves onto your your bare hands like this is minimized depending on how you take the gloves off. That's if you are able to get gloves and actually you're able to use the gloves. And again, I appeal to people who sell these things not to make too much profit. It is wicked to attempt to make profit the way you do when you sell black market petrol when there is shortage of petrol. This is about life and death, and therefore it would be terrible for anybody to try to make profit, 1,000% profit out of something that people feel desperately that they must buy, and you take advantage of it in a time of crisis and in a time of life and death. It becomes an issue of morality. It becomes an issue of moral obligation. And if you actually do make those profits, I mean, that's where people begin to curse people, and it really is not good. And then this is another piece of equipment where this is a mask, and it's not the one. This mask will not actually 100% provide all that you need not to be infected, but it helps. It goes a very, very long way. For instance, if you have a cold, you yourself have a cold, then if you put this over your mouth like that and you wear it and you're talking to somebody, the fact that this is contained in droplets, if you sneeze, if you cough, if your spit goes out of your mouth when you're talking, if you're wearing this mask, then it helps to keep it on you. That is if you have it. In case you don't have it and you are speaking with somebody who has it, then it also helps and minimizes how it gets to you, because it's droplets, so it can go into your eyes. That's why they say don't touch your eyes. It can go through your nostrils and it can go through your mouth. So you have to be very, very careful how you interact. That's why you greet people either with your elbow, or you smile, or you wave. Try and keep away from hugging people, because if somebody is contaminated and they have it on their dress and you hug them, it will go on your dress. Now, if it touches you, or you're taking your dress off and it touches your face, it will go on you. So these are information that you should use with your own common sense. You should be able to apply it with your own common sense by doing the very best that you can to make sure that that you don't get contaminated, and if you are contaminated, that you don't pass it onto other people. There is this other mask that maybe next week I'll have it. I couldn't get it this time. It's like a cup over your mouth and your nose. That one actually has filter, and so that one is also very good, because even if the disease or the virus comes on that, it cuts it out, and you can actually change the filter. But this type of mask, you have to dispose. That's why it's called disposable. You have to dispose of it once you have finished with it. You cannot use it for more than, you should not use it for more than 24 hours a day. Within this time, this period of time, or as a matter of fact, it's disposable, so anytime. And these gloves too, they are also disposable. But now I don't know whether you should wash them because of lack of having them. But I wouldn't suggest that, because they are also disposable gloves. But it depends on whether you can get another pair or not. But if you can wash your hands and every 20 minutes and you are safer, then it will make sense to me. If you cannot access it again and it's not broken, it doesn't have a hole, it's not torn in any place, then perhaps it might be okay to wash it with soap and water very well and dry it and all that. But I mean, it is better not to. It is better when you use it, you dump it in the dustbin. when you blow your nose with a tissue paper. I don't know how many people are still able to get tissue papers, but if you use tissue paper or you use handkerchief, I would even suggest that you throw it away. So it keeps you. What you need to do is to keep yourself free, to keep yourself safe from contact, and the only way you can do that is to stay indoors. If you must go indoors, outdoor desperately, then you must follow the guidelines or even the rules and regulations and the laws that is being laid down. The most important thing is we should not people should stop singing and dancing about koro, about this, about that. It's not funny. This virus is not funny. Nigerians have a way of making jokes out of everything, which in certain times is not bad. But in times like this, there is nothing that is funny about what is going on all over the world. So very important that we follow what the governors are saying. Very important that we know we are doing our best for ourselves. I'm just getting some stupid comments from some most irrelevant people. We're talking about something very serious again, and someone is talking about what somebody said in Jigawa, that Bayelsa belongs to Jigawa. How does that fit into what we are saying? I repeat again, I am not a Biafran. I am from Rivers State. I am Ijo. I am from Rivers State, and I am from Niger Delta. You like Amo, you don't like Amo. That is just the reality of it. Back to coronavirus, and I pray to God that you are saved from coronavirus, because by making these silly comments, it shows very clearly that you're not listening to what I'm saying. And so if you're not listening to what I'm saying, then obviously you're not listening to what the governor of Rivers State is saying, or the governor of your own state is saying, or what the Nigerian government is saying. Whether you like it or you don't like it, that is your business, So people who want to stay alive should listen very carefully and do what they have heard, that this is the best way out for us at this particular time in the world, not just in Nigeria alone, in the world. I want to believe that by our next broadcast, and maybe there will be a need for intermediate broadcasting on this corona virus issue, because quite honestly, I do not think that there is anything more important in the world today than how we will contain it, and how very quickly scientists are going to find a way out for us, whether by developing vaccine, because there is already, it was during this type of flu time, influenza, SARS, all these terrible flus of the family of coronavirus, that inoculations were developed for bird flu, all kinds of flu, that today in Europe, I've not actually heard about it in Nigeria, that old people of a certain age, from the ages of 60 to people who are considered essential workers, and these are doctors and nurses that are considered essential workers all over the world, are made to, or compelled even, to take flu jabs during certain months of the year, in Europe during the winter during the winter months, where people who are very vulnerable, and it's the same set of group of people that are vulnerable in most times like this. Old people, people from the ages of say 60, 50, if you already have underlying health issues like heart disease, liver disease, and stuff like that. So I think that the government again will have to look into these things and begin to develop a healthcare system right from ground zero. We need to start from ground zero. So we may need to go out, do broadcast right now. I will speak with the studio management and see whether we can come back into the studio, go online as well, and make these broadcasts with facts and information, and actually bringing it to align from information from outside and information that the Nigerian government is also bringing out. Because the most important thing is that everybody has a role to play. Even if it is just to sit down at home and not go out, then you have a role to play. If you have information to share, you have a role to play. If you can do what I'm doing with facts and figures, not with rumors, please, so that people get information in your community through the local government chairman, the way that Governor Wike has told the local government chairman that if anything comes out of their states, that their local government, that they're going to be held responsible. Well, I agree with him, because Nigerians, we are the type of people that, whether we like it or not, we like drastic things until then carry koboko whip us. We know they hear. Well, I don't include myself because me I've heard. So unless they take koboko, unless police come, army come, they know they hear. And please don't allow yourself to be found in a place where police will pick you up and go and put you in any of those stations, because that place must be the breeding place of diseases and like this. So it is so important. 1, stay at home. I'm rounding up now. 1, stay at home. I beg you, Biko, Pasisi, stay at home. Mbok, stay at home. Don't go out. If you must go out, let only one person go out. If you're a family, let only one person go out. If you have house help, this may not be the right time if they don't live with you to be coming and going. If you have a house help that is coming and going, there is danger there, because no matter how you pull their ear, what they do when you cannot see them is different. If your driver comes and goes, you have to be careful, because, and again, your cars, use soap, water, Dettol in a clean cloth and use it to wipe your steering. Maybe you should make a mixture of sanitizer, or a mixture of Dettol, anything that can kill germ, and put it in a bottle and put it in your car, and put a clean cloth in the car, so that when you enter the car, you must tell your drivers this. And people, buy sanitizers and give to your driver. Don't say you're paying him. You're not paying him to bring disease for you. Don't say I am paying him, he should buy with his money. It's your life. It's not only his life, it's your life. So buy sanitizer for him, and buy soap. Buy and let him wash his hands in your presence. Let him not tell you, ma, don't wash my hand. Sir, don't wash my hand. Now lie. Even if you have to hold the water and pour on his hand. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. Even if you have to do that, it's your life. I'm hearing now 30 cases in Lagos, Abuja 8, Ogun 3, Bauchi 1, somebody just sent this info. I'm sure you people are seeing it too if you're watching. Edo 1, Ekiti 1, Osun 1, Oyo 1. God help us in Rivers State. The way our governor has gone about it. God help us. Our people, help yourself. The Niger Delta area, help yourself so that it doesn't come in. Please. Because if this thing comes in, it's danger. Serious danger. Because our people know they hear. Our people know they hear. Whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Biafra as you call yourself, whether it is Ndibo, whether it is Nde Niger Delta, anything, our people don't hear. And the way we live is poor. Very, very poor. 10 people sleeping in one bed, in one room. This is the problem. And I must say this before I round up. Please, studio. This is why we must have this situation where the government are in charge, the state governments are in charge of their states, so that they can provide housing, so that they can provide affordable housing, affordable health care. And if this Nigeria government does not want to do restructuring, we must sit down and find a way out where everybody will be responsible for their state. We cannot go on like this. We cannot go on like this. If not, if I were the governor of a state and this thing is happening and I have the right, I will shut my state down. There is no point in a governor doing everything he can and people can still come into his state because he's not in control of who is coming into his state. There is no governor today who is in control of who comes into a state. But if we have a situation where we have the full authority to control our state, Rivers State can shut our state down, Abia can shut down, Bayelsa can shut down. When all this is over, we can know what to do. On that note, God bless you all and keep yourself safe. Do the right thing for yourself. Don't say that because God said in Matthew 4, 1 to 11, if you go through Matthew 4, 1 to 11, even Jesus Christ himself resisted the devil when he was trying to tell him that he should prove that if he falls, angels will catch him. No. Don't go and put your hand in coronavirus or go near somebody and say that because God will save you. No, that's not what God is telling you. That's not what he's telling you at all. So on that note, keep safe. Thank you for tuning in. And if I can, I'll come in between. If I cannot, next Wednesday, I'll be online again. I'll be connected with the studio again. God bless you all and stay safe. Thank you. Bye.